Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and if you're new here, thank you for joining me today. So in today's video, I will kind of be explaining more about the pharmacy program that I'm in. I talk about it a little here and there, but a few people had questions about how my program actually works. So I am in a distant education program, and this means that I go to school from home. Everything we do is through Zoom and online. So when I was doing my pharmacy school applications, I noticed that there were some programs advertising as DE or distant education. But when I inquired a little further, I realized that they weren't fully distant education. You still had to come into campus, but the professors were not there. You sat in a classroom or auditorium, and the professors would come in on a screen from their remote location. I kind of feel like if I'm paying tuition, that kind of defeats the purpose of distant education. Like, I need to be distant, and I'm my professor. I feel like they have more of a responsibility to actually be in class than I do. Okay, so how the program I'm in works is that we have live sessions, pre-recorded lectures, and then we have our exams every week on Monday. So our live sessions are every day, different classes. It's just like a regular, like going to class, and the professor is lecturing. However, the difference is that we may not necessarily get a full lecture. So when you go to class, the professor is essentially giving you the information that you need to study. They're going over things. They're probably lecturing from the book, probably lecturing from a PowerPoint. But with our live sessions, a lot of the time it's interactive. The professors are asking questions. The professors are expecting you to come to class already having had reviewed the material. Some of our professors, they actually lecture. They go through their PowerPoint slides, which I think is okay, but I benefit more from when the professor's asking questions and there's more of a conversation about the topic. I don't want to go over PowerPoints and lectures that we technically should have done before we got to class. So speaking of the pre-recorded lectures and the PowerPoints, our pre-recorded lectures typically get posted the Friday or the Saturday before our Monday exam. So by Friday or Saturday, we should be ready for our Monday exam, and the next week's material will be posted. I know that sounds confusing. I don't know how to say that in not a confusing way. However, this semester our professors have been pretty good with like posting everything at one time. So once a new section starts, they just post everything, and that way we can kind of schedule out our day or our week without waiting for lecture videos to drop. So you are supposed to have had watched the lecture videos, reviewed your PowerPoint, looked into any other resources that you needed to look into. I personally also try to complete my objectives. So most sections will have an objective of what you should know and what will be covered in that section. And so I like to complete those objectives kind of like test questions or a study guide, because if I can answer those objective questions down the line without looking, then I know I'm prepared for the exam. So I like to do that too before lecture. If I'm being honest, I'm always behind. I'm always one step behind. We have 4 classes right now, and yeah, it's difficult to keep ahead of classes. It's difficult to keep ahead with all 4 classes. It's crazy. It's insane. So yeah, so we watch our lectures, we look at our PowerPoints, and then we go to class. So our live sessions are Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Mondays we have exams and we do not have classes, and then Fridays we don't have exams or classes. So we're only in school for 3 days, but it feels like we're there all day. So for example, today my class starts at 12 and then it runs straight through to 5. We don't even have breaks because I think they put a dean's hour in there today. Or we may have one 30-minute break. I'm not sure. I had to look at my schedule. But yeah, so today it's from 12 straight through 5. And I know it doesn't seem long, like, oh, it's only 5 hours. But yeah, it's smack in the middle of the day. And then you study from when classes go out. So let's say 5, let's say I take a break after class. So from 7 to probably like 12, 1 a.m. in the morning, I'm studying. So I go to bed late. I'm not waking up early to take advantage of the day, which is a little annoying. But it's a cycle. We're making it work. So I'm actually going to screenshot a picture of my schedule and put it right here, just so I can show y'all what a week's look like, and the times that we are in class or that we have exams. It is kind of crazy. The schedule is stuff, not to mention that I work because I have bills to pay. And so it's hectic. I work on a study schedule every week. So like I have to go day by day with my study schedule. So I set up a weekly study schedule, but on a daily basis, I go over what I'm actually going to study a day. Because if I don't, I'm going to get lost and I'm going to feel like the day is a waste. I've already been through those days where I'm like, what did I actually study today? What did I actually study? So another question that people always ask is, how do we do labs? Because pharmacy school does have quite a bit of labs. And so every summer we have to meet at one of the 2 locations of our pharmacy school. So there's one in Pennsylvania and there's one in Florida. I live in Florida. I will be at the Florida campus. I actually live, so the school is in the Tampa Bay area and I live in the Tampa Bay area. The Tampa Bay area is huge. Tampa Bay area goes all the way to like far Tampa, West Chase. I would even include St. Pete in the Tampa Bay area, all the way down to Sarasota, Florida. That's all the Tampa Bay area. So it is pretty big, but I still live in the area, so it's not too far. So for the people who live in this region, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Hawaii, we will be in the Florida campus over the summer. And for the students who are further up north, New York, Colorado, Pennsylvania, they'll all be up there. I'm interested to see the California students, like the students all the way on the West Coast, what their options are. But either way, every summer we have to meet up as a class to do our lab. Okay, so the first summer that we're meeting will be the summer of 2023, and that summer will actually be our white coat ceremony as well. So that's another question that people ask. They're like, since you're distant education, you're online, do you guys have a white coat ceremony? We do. We get together next summer and we will have our white coat ceremony with our family and our friends present. I guess it's really exciting. Looking forward to it. If you guys have watched my YouTube videos, pharmacy schools, like I'm excited to be here. I'm happy to be here, but it's been such a long road coming. White coat ceremony is like the least of my ride. Like I honestly am not very, I know there are a lot of people who are like, I want my white coat. I need my white coat to show. And I'm like, I genuinely don't care. I want to pass my classes, graduate and pass boards and just be done with school. So yes, our white coat ceremony is over the summer. Now, as far as study groups, because that's another question people ask, how do you study? How do you meet? I actually make friends. I actually made friends with some of my classmates that were in the local area to where I live. And one of my friends, we meet up at least 2 or 3 times a week to study. And we do Zoom calls, we do Zoom study sessions, which I absolutely love, because if we could get the right people on the Zoom study sessions, they're able to break down material that everyone else may not be able to understand. So that's how we study. It's really not as complicated as people think it is, especially since our society is moving towards a more digital lifestyle anyway, which is annoying because I feel like we need to have human interaction, but I do feel like it's beneficial in cases like this with pharmacy school. So for clubs and organizations, you can join those. It's all virtual as well. For me, I'm a part of SNAPA and I am a part of APHA. So for SNAPA, I'm actually on the board of SNAPA. I am the power to end stroke chair, and that is something that's always been on my heart. I'll say when I moved to this area 2 years ago, I got a job working at a hospital and I was a clinical pharmacy technician and my specialty was cardiac. So I worked with a lot of cardiac patients And, you know, since then I've been very passionate about the work because the medication in cardiac is so expensive. And I feel like doctors need to either do a better job at prescribing more affordable medications, like there are alternatives, or we need to make these medications more affordable for our patients. And so the Power to End Stroke Chair was really an important position for me, especially since strokes, you can survive strokes and you can rehabilitate back into a normal life after stroke, but only after certain things and certain processes have been followed, and you have to be quick to respond. And so I want to be able to share that information with the community. I love to hear when people are like, I knew I was having a stroke and I called 911. I knew the symptoms. There are so many people who don't know the symptoms, and that is my goal, is to educate our community on what the symptoms are. So I was very happy about that. I don't have a board position for APHA. I wanted to kind of limit myself to one board position. I want to do 3 organizations my first year, and then limit myself to being on e-board in only one organization, because ultimately school is all that matters. Our meetings are via Zoom, even though most of the organizations that I'm a part of, they're based on our Florida campus, which works out because if there is ever any events, any social events, any in-person events, I can just pop on over. It's a little bit of like a 30 to 45 minute drive. I don't mind making that drive to have human interaction. So the biggest question that I get all the time is, why did I choose a distant education program? Why? Why would you choose that? Why would you want to be in a class sitting at a desk in front of a professor? Well, I have quite a bit of reasons. First of all, let me say this. This is the biggest reason. I didn't get accepted to any other schools except for this one school. So that was a big thing. But they did have the Florida campus and the DE campus, and I chose DE. So there are many, many reasons. I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm just going to go through the bigger reasons. So one is that I have really bad anxiety. And the truth of the matter is, I don't like to not be in my house. So I don't like to be outside. I don't like to be in a building, especially schools and colleges. We know the history, of that. I just prefer to be in my house. I feel safe here. I feel comfortable here. I just like to be here. That is something that I'm working on, though. I am going on more, like when I meet up with my friends to study, I kind of like find a coffee bar or something to sit down in, even though it's really difficult it's really hard on my anxiety. I am trying to work on that. And so we try to study not in my house. Another reason is I am not a germaphobe, but I'm very aware of how germs spread. And so I don't want to sit at a desk that some sick person probably sat at for hours and sneezed and coughed and touched parts of their bodies that probably don't need to be touched, and then touched the desk, sat on the chair, whatever. I literally walk around. Do I have my purse next to me? I literally walk around with a small bottle of Clorox sanitizer, disinfectant, and my Lysol wipes. So those are the 2 big reasons. I know that doesn't sound like important reasons, but those were important reasons to me. Other reasons were that, as I mentioned earlier, I don't like to redo lectures that I have access to myself. Like, I can watch my own lectures. I can review the PowerPoints. I want a more interactive class. I want to talk to my professor. I want them to ask questions. I may not know the answers, but if I give a wrong answer, there's time to say, hey, that's not the right answer. This is how it breaks down. I like to ask questions like, okay, I was a little confused about this topic. Can you break this down for me? And that's what you get when you're doing the distant education program that I'm in. When you're on campus, is more like, I don't think they get the lectures early. They don't get the lectures early because they have in-person lectures. And so I think on campus is a week behind us, I believe. I'm not sure, because we all have exams on Mondays. So I don't know how that works. But I know that when we talk and we're going over our stuff, we're ahead of them. Another reason is that the driving. I don't want to drive all the way to campus. I don't want to live in that area because it's super expensive. I can barely afford where I'm at now. I cannot move somewhere else that's like really, really expensive. And so I have the option where like if this rent gets too overwhelming, I can just go home. I can just go stay with my mom, save some money. If this gets too bad, you know, so I needed that flexibility. I needed that option to say, okay, I can't afford to live here. Let me pack up my things and go home with my mom. And that is the option I get with a distant education program. Who shouldn't do a distant education program? The reality is everything is not for everyone. And if you are not disciplined, if you're distracted easily, if you probably have children at home that you don't have anyone to help watch, if you prefer a more human interaction, like if you like to be around people, if you feed off of that energy, I don't recommend a distant education program for you. Because the reality of the situation is you're in your house all day, every day. You're here. This is where you are. This is where you have class. Think about it. When you're in school, you're on campus. How much time do you spend at school and on campus? You're going to spend that same time here, and then you're not going to leave, right? Because you're going to shower, you're going to brush your teeth, you're going to eat dinner, and you're going to go to sleep here as well. And you're going to wake up and do it all over again. So if you don't like being in these four walls, do not do a distant education program. I like it. I like to be here in my home. I feel comfortable. I love it. It's my space. But if you already know you're going to drive yourself crazy, don't do it. Now, I'm not a robot. I still feel like sometimes I go a little stir crazy. So I have my patio that I can go out on. I can take Spade for a walk. I can go and run my errands a little bit. So there are those options there for me as well. Like I said, I'm not a robot. Thank you guys for tuning into this video. I know that a lot of people have been waiting. I say a lot of people. I know that a few people have been waiting for a video like this to kind of explain what my program is and what I do, how I go to school. I do post day in a lives on Instagram in my stories. So follow me on Instagram, which is in my description, and I'll put it down here at the bottom as well. So that you can see those day in the lives and get more of a closer and detailed look. I really appreciate you guys for watching this video. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Share this video with anyone who you think might be interested, and comment down below what you want to see in the next video. What do you guys want me to talk about in the next video of my experience? That is all. Thank you guys for rocking with me. Bye.